Render has once again become the largest AI altcoin by market cap after rallying over 44% on the past month, 15.5% over the past week, and just over 8% on the day. Now, in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I want to break down why I believe Render has been such a strong performer recently and discuss some upcoming catalysts that could help push this altcoin to new all-time highs. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do find the videos informative and entertaining, please consider hitting that sub and like button. And I do appreciate all the support on the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. So without further ado, we are going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and that is going to be the Render token. If you guys have been with the channel for a while, you know that this has been my favorite AI altcoin, and with good reason. I mean, since the beginning of the bull market, this coin has been a huge outperformer. And if we actually measure its performance, so here from the beginning of 2023, this coin is up about 2,500%, and that is after being down about 40% from its all-time highs that it made at about the $13 zone. It is also one of the few altcoins out of the top 100 that has been outperforming Bitcoin from the beginning of this bull run. And I do believe that AI will continue to be a big narrative for the duration of this bull run, and that is why we are going to be talking about Render in today's video, as there are some catalysts coming up that could help push this altcoin on another run to the upside. Before we actually get into the Render content, I do want to take a few minutes to update you just on Bitcoin and the general market structure as we typically do. So I'm going to go ahead and put us on the daily candles here. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, the big thing that we were waiting for on Bitcoin, since we saw this local top back in March and this set of lower highs forming, was simply for Bitcoin to finally break out of this lower high formation that it was making here. We did get a breakout above that in mid-October, a back test of this prior resistance into support near the end of October, and then boom, Bitcoin has been off to the races ever since then, and it is pretty much an all-time high territory at the moment, sitting at 91.8K, with its all-time high sitting at just about the $93,000 mark. Now, what I find super interesting about Bitcoin when compared to the altcoin market is that we did see this local top back in March, then we actually saw Bitcoin go here, try to break above it, got rejected, and then boom, came back down and broke above this March top that came at about the $73,500 mark. Now, if we take a look at total 3 here, which is the altcoin market, so this is the total altcoin market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, basically. What we are seeing here is the altcoin market following this move where it actually made this March high at about 789 bill, and now boom, it is also broken above that level as well, and is currently sitting at about the $830 billion zone. However, unlike Bitcoin, which is an all-time high territory, the altcoin market is still off about 25% from its prior cycle high, which came in at about the $1.13 trillion mark. And we are entering the phase of the cycle where I do think that altcoins will begin to outperform Bitcoin. And I don't mean all altcoins. I think that it's going to be the altcoins, with these strong fundamentals and with these strong narratives behind them that are going to outperform Bitcoin. And Render does fit both of these categories, in my opinion. So we are going to just spend the rest of the video focusing on the Render network and the token itself. And I will give you guys an update on the price action for that token at the end of the video. So for starters, if you don't know what the Render network is, it is a decentralized GPU rendering platform. Essentially, what they do is harness idle GPU power worldwide, and then people are able to tap into this for a bunch of different AI use cases, including content creation and machine learning. So we can actually see here in their compute client section, the Render Network's ecosystem of decentralized GPUs supports the next gen of machine learning and artificial intelligence applications, and this was introduced in RNP 004, which was created back in July of 2023. So they really kind of made this big pivot into AI in the middle of 2023, and I do think that it has really benefited from this AI narrative since the launch of this initiative. So you can see here here. That RNP 004 came on July 11th. The render was sitting at about the dollar, just under $2 at that point. It actually dipped down to the mid $1 range, and then boom from there. We can actually measure it from that August low, and it rallied about 950% there. So I do think that this transition into AI and machine learning has benefited Render. And when it comes to AI, I do view it as just really being in its early phases in the exponential growth phase. The demand is exponential for AI. The actual supply is the bottleneck, okay? The GPU power needed to harness these different AI tasks, and that is what the Render network is looking to solve with their decentralized GPU infrastructure. Now, additionally, they introduced the burn mint equilibrium, and this actually came into effect when they migrated the Render tokens from the Ethereum network over to the Solana network. And this upgrade allows rendering and AI jobs to be paid on chain in Render. And the BME model enables the network to consistently price service using a supply and demand equilibrium. So basically what they're looking to do here, and the big thing behind the burn mint equilibrium, is that upon completion of work, creators pay for jobs by converting fiat to Render using distributed liquidity pools. The Render is subsequently burned in exchange for completion of the work. A transparent log of these transactions is maintained by the protocol, which forms the basis for rewards for contributors at each epoch's end. So when the epoch end, this Render is then allocated to those contributors who gave their GPU power to others. And basically, this does also demonstrate that there is a use case for the Render token itself. It is used to pay for the services of their decentralized GPU fleet. And this also means that as the usage of the Render network goes up, so do the burns on the network. And this can actually be demonstrated right here in this chart. So we can see here that in October of 2024, we saw the highest month in terms of Render being burnt, which has really been in this uptrend since July. So in July, there was 4,500 Render burnt. In August, it was about 23,474. In September, it was 35,037, and in October there was 46,796 Render burned, effectively showcasing that the usage of the Render network is going up as well. Okay, now additionally, while we do have burns ramping up, Render is cutting their emissions by 35% in December. So this month's mint actually came in at the end of November, as it does at the end of every month. And then starting at the end of December, there will be 35% less emissions. And this breaks it down year over year, okay? So a 35% reduction going into year 2 and year 3, then a 23% reduction from year 3 into year 4, and another 12% reduction from year 4 into year 5, which is a 56% reduction in emissions over this 5-year period. Okay. So you can basically see here that burns are increasing, the emissions are decreasing, which means that there is effectively less Render available on the market. And I am curious to see how this plays out, and if it actually is able to flip deflationary once we see that cut in emissions, and assuming that we do see a continued increase in the amount of burns for this token. So that is one thing to look out for here, is the decreased emissions alongside the increase in burns on the network. Additionally, we did actually see this from Jules Urbach, the CEO of Render. He basically teased earlier this year in July that they are actually working on a project over here. And basically what he said is, I've been heads down this past month helping guide a technically complex and very ambitious internal project, which, if all goes well, will serve as a major industry proof point for all the next-gen workflows that will be a part of Render's roadmap in 2025 and beyond. And then he says here recently, so this was at the end of October, still working out the details with Imad and team as we refactor the RNP around jobs for world models. Roadmap update for 2025 will come in 2 parts, one of which is waiting on the release of the project I talked about a few months back. Additionally, we did see RNP 11 created in late March. And basically, this was a huge RNP. This was a huge proposal from the team, actually. Effectively, what they are looking to do is create and augment 1 billion 3D assets for for language data sets and for large language models, basically for model training. So render nodes will participate in asset creation and storage. Buyers interested in using the data set will pay exclusively in render on the network, and users will have the option to stake render and then receive rewards from nodes who generate training revenue. So we're talking about a decrease in emissions, an increase in burns, and staking coming for the render network, as well as just more use cases for the render token itself with this massive data set for model training. And I do hope that this is all addressed in the roadmap. I would assume that if this is the 2025 roadmap, that it should be coming. I mean, I would like to see it come before the end of the year, but if this is their roadmap for 2025, I do hope they are able to release it over the next month and a half. And I really do hope that they discuss a lot of the things that we've been covering here, because I think that's something the market would really like to see. Just, talking about burns, about decreasing emissions, about staking coming to the network. I think this could all act as some very positive tailwinds for the price action of this altcoin. Now, additionally, in the near term for the render token, we have NVDA earnings coming up on November 20th, and we can see how render has performed against NVIDIA's earnings in the past. So last November 8th, which was their earnings, to November 21st, up 98%. February 5th was their next earnings call, to February 22nd, up 93.5%. May 1st to May 22nd, up 73%. August 5th to August 27th, plus 93%. And who knows where it's actually going to go with this earnings call, but that is going to be coming tomorrow on November 20th. And we'll definitely be keeping an eye to see how the render token responds to these earnings. Now, to wrap things up, I do want to take a look at the render token here. And what I want to show you guys when it comes to render is you can actually see here, we're kind of in this range right now between the $5.25 mark and the $8.80 mark. It's a pretty big range to be in. The $5.20 and 25 cents is actually this last level of resistance that was hit here in late 2023 before render came back down and then ripped above it and ran up to new all-time highs. And on that break above 525, render effectively ran 160% within a month from mid-February up to mid-March. Now, we did see render, it was here in this range. It broke above it. It broke back down below it. However, we have now seen render close above 525, get back above the bull market support band where it was previously getting rejected. So if we do see a positive reaction to NVIDIA earnings, if we do see render rally, the next significant area I would be looking for on the chart would be that $8.80 zone. If it does want to make its way back to the downside, I would be looking for support at the low $6 range, which is where the bull market support band sits at the moment, potentially backtesting it as support before continuing on its move to the upside. So I do think that based on NVIDIA earnings, we will see which way this altcoin wants to move. But my downside target here, if this price action reverses, would be that $6, let's call it like 570 to 610 zone. And to the upside, it would be that 880 level, which is the 2021 all-time high. So on that note, I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.